If you're thinking about buying the Fujifilm X-E5, hold on for a second, because I'm about to reveal some surprising problems you won't hear from usual reviews. This camera promises so much. Stunning 40.2 MP image quality, classic rangefinder style, and a sleek design that looks like it jumped straight out of a vintage film camera ad. But here's what surprised me. Despite all the hype, there are some serious quirks and deal breakers that might ruin your shooting experience. Now, before you click buy, let's break down why this camera might not be the perfect fit for you, even if it looks absolutely gorgeous on your desk. First off, let me pause for a second and ask, are you a professional photographer hunting for a nimble everyday shooter? Or maybe an enthusiast who loves experimenting with Fujifilm's famed film simulation modes and interchangeable lenses? Whichever camp you're in, the X-E5 attempts to deliver for all with its premium machined aluminum top plate, nostalgic analog controls, and an impressive IBIS system that claims up to 7 stops of shake reduction. Sounds dreamy, right? However, just like my last attempt at baking a souffle that collapsed faster than my hopes on Monday morning, the X-E5 has a few wobbling spots you should definitely know about. Let's dive deep. The first interesting catch is the user interface. While Fujifilm sticks to its signature analog dials for exposure and ISO, they've introduced a new customizable film simulation dial. Sounds cool. Yet this dial sits hidden under the top plate with a tiny circular window that's awkward to read while shooting. It's like trying to check your watch in a dark movie theater. You end up missing the moment entirely and shaking your head at the design choices. Plus, navigating through menus for fine-tuning those custom film recipes requires patience or a minor meditation session, especially under tight shooting conditions. Not exactly what you want when you're chasing that perfect street shot before the light fades. And speaking of chasing shots, autofocus performance on the X-E5 is a mixed bag. Fujifilm's AI-powered subject detection is touted to recognize a broad range of subjects, but in real-world use, it sometimes struggles with fast-moving or low-contrast objects, leading to frustrating misses. Imagine trying to photograph your hyperactive puppy, who's managed to zoom off in 0.2 seconds. That precious moment might just blur into a mushy memory. This is compounded by the fact that the camera's hybrid viewfinder, while full of features, can feel cramped compared to rivals, making precise manual focusing a challenge in dim light or fast-paced environments. But hold on, don't toss your credit card just yet. The X-E5 is a striking machine with notable strengths. Thanks to its upgraded X-Trans 5 sensor and X-Processor 5 engine, image quality is truly top-tier. With a low base ISO of 125, the camera captures exquisite detail with minimal noise. If you're a pixel peeper who loves mega-resolution landscapes or dreamy portraits with creamy bokeh, you're in for a treat. However, that resolution comes at a cost. Large file sizes demanding significant storage and a more powerful computer for editing. You might feel like a hoarder for all your raw files, except instead of cluttering your house, it's your hard drive that cries for mercy. Speaking of lenses, the interchangeable nature of the X-E5 is a major draw. Fujifilm's vast X-mount lineup means you can swap from an ultra-sharp XF23 f2.8 RWR to wide-angle or telephoto options as your creativity demands. But here's the twist. A common complaint from users is the size and weight add-on from lenses, which tips the camera from a lightweight street shooter into a more bulky setup. So, if you were hoping to casually toss this camera into your bag without feeling like you're carrying photography gear equivalent to an awkward gym session, you might need to reconsider. It's the difference between looking like a casual creative or an undercover paparazzi on a mission. Now, one of the largest hurdles is the price. At $1699, the X-E5 is positioned in the premium compact mirrorless segment. That's a healthy chunk of change, which means expectations are sky high. Competitors in the market offer similar or better autofocus, more intuitive controls, and additional video features at this price point. And speaking of videos, if you're someone who also loves shooting motion, the X-E5's video capabilities are solid but not groundbreaking. It lacks the advanced video specs of some rivals in the same price class, so videographers might find themselves limited. It's like buying the latest sports car but discovering it doesn't come with sport mode. Sure, it looks fast, but the thrill is missing. On the bright side, Fujifilm's in-body image stabilization, IBIS, deserves a standing ovation. Upgraded gyro sensors and new stabilization algorithms provide up to 7 stops of shake reduction, meaning handheld shots, even in low light, are surprisingly crisp. For example, you can catch that moody nighttime cityscape or candlelit dinner scene without breaking into a sweat, or your budget for a tripod. It's a feature that justifies its place in a creative's toolkit, even if the camera slips up in other areas. So who exactly is the X-E5 for? If you're someone who worships the Fujifilm experience, the tactile dials, the retro look, and the joy of shooting with analog-inspired control while having the flexibility of interchangeable lenses, it's hard not to be tempted. It's not only about image quality, but also about owning a camera that feels special in your hands. It's almost like dating an old-school romantic rather than swiping right on the latest tech gadget. But if you demand lightning-fast autofocus, flawless menu navigation, or the best bang-for-buck video recording, you might want to look further. Let me share a quick story. A friend of mine bought the X-E5 to take on a trip to Italy, excited by the promises of classic rangefinder aesthetics and stunning image quality. But midway through the trip, they found themselves frustrated by the clumsy film simulation dial and focus misses, which seemed to grow as tired as they did after a day of walking through Rome's cobblestones. Yet, when they finally nailed a golden hour shot of the Colosseum with breathtaking clarity, they looked like a proud parent handing me irrefutable proof that this camera, warts and all, had its moments of magic. That's basically like life, imperfect but memorable. Now it's time for some fun. I mean, what's a review without a bit of humor, right? Imagine the X-E5's film simulation dial started running for president. Because it's so good at causing confusion and debate, it would win by a landslide. Or picture trying to explain to a non-photographer that ISO 125 isn't a new Star Wars droid model. And how about the autofocus system? Sometimes it works like a lovable but slightly clumsy dog chasing its tail, adorable but not always productive. Lastly, the price point is like a fancy coffee shop where you pay $6 for a latte and in return get 3 sips and a side of existential dread. To wrap this up, yes, the Fujifilm X-E5 is a bit of a paradox. It's visually stunning, capable of delivering some breathtaking images with its high-resolution sensor and creative flexibility. But it's also got quirks, awkward UI elements, occasional autofocus hiccups, and a price tag that demands critical thought before buying. In a crowded market of mirrorless cameras, it stands out for style and image quality, but falls just short of perfection for those seeking flawless performance in every category. However, if you value the Fujifilm shooting experience, the analog charm, and the freedom of interchangeable lenses wrapped in a compact body, the X-E5 is still a seriously strong contender. Want the best deal on the Fujifilm X-E5? Check the Amazon link in the description below to see today's prices and discounts. Trust me, it's worth keeping an eye on. Whether you decide to take this camera for a spin or not, remember, great photography is about chasing your vision, not just the gear. But having the right tools sure helps make those moments easier to capture. So why not make the X-E5 your creative companion and see where it takes your craft? Happy shooting!